Hi everyone, welcome back to Learn With Me. I'm Deborah Hanson. Today we're going to be looking at AP Psychology 5.4 selection of categories of psychological disorders. There are 10 CED questions for this section of Unit 5. I'm going to do a video for every single CED question. Maybe you've watched the first ones already. This is number 5, so it's going to be CED question number 5. So if you haven't hit that like and subscribe button for me, please do so. I really appreciate it. And thank you to everybody who has done that. The numbers are going up and it's really exciting to see, and lots of really nice comments and emails from everybody. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Now let's dive into CED question number 5. On these slides, you'll see the key terms for the entire section of 5.4, not just for this CED question, right? So there are a lot of them, but there's a separate video where I go through every definition and I give you an example so that you can learn them for the test. My motto is the key to the 5 are the key terms. You've got to know your key terms to be able to apply them into FRQs and MCQs. The CED question for this section of 5.4 is describe the symptoms and possible causes of selected anxiety disorders. We're going to break all those down. Always a good idea to have a little overview of what we're going to be talking about. So let's look at the overview of anxiety disorders. First of all, the definition of anxiety disorders is that they are characterized by excessive fear or anxiety that disrupts behavior and functioning. We're going to look at 5 specific anxiety disorders in AP psychology: specific phobia, agoraphobia, panic disorder, social anxiety disorder, and generalized anxiety disorder. I'm going to break all these down for you. So, have you ever felt extreme fear when facing a certain object or situation, something that might not be dangerous, but still triggers this intense reaction? If so, you're not alone. Today, we're going to break down specific phobias. This is a type of anxiety disorder where an intense, irrational fear is focused on a particular object or situation. A specific phobia is an excessive and persistent fear of specific object, activity, or situation. This fear is so strong that it leads to avoidance and significant distress in daily life. Unlike general fear, a phobia is irrational and far more intense than a typical reaction. Some of the most common specific phobias include acrophobia. It's the fear of heights. A person with this phobia might avoid tall buildings or even standing on a balcony. Or arachnophobia, the fear of spiders. Gotta say, I had that one a bit. Just seeing a spider, even a picture of a spider, can trigger extreme anxiety. When someone with a phobia encounters their feared object or situation, they'll often experience avoidance behavior. They go out of their way to avoid what they fear, even if it disrupts their daily life, or an immediate anxiety response. Their heart may race, they may feel dizzy, or they may even have a panic attack just thinking about encountering their feared object. So, why do phobias develop? Well, there are several explanations. The first one is classical conditioning. Some people develop phobias after a negative experience. For example, if someone was once trapped in an elevator, they might develop a phobia for enclosed spaces. That would be claustrophobia. Or observational behavior. Sometimes people develop phobias by watching others. For example, if a child sees a parent scream at the sight of a spider, they may learn to fear spiders as well. So specific phobias can be overwhelming, but they're also treatable. Exposure therapy and cognitive behavioral techniques can help gradually overcome these fears. So let's talk about agoraphobia. Imagine feeling trapped in a crowded shopping mall or a packed train, overwhelmed by the fear that you're not going to be able to leave or get help if you need it. For people with agoraphobia, these situations can cause intense anxiety, leading them to avoid everyday places entirely. Agoraphobia is an anxiety disorder that involves a strong fear of situations where escape might be difficult or help might not be available if panic sets in. This fear can be so intense that some individuals avoid even leaving their home altogether. So people with agoraphobia may fear, for example, using public transportation. Buses, trains, subways, they can feel overwhelming because they limit the ability to escape. Or being in crowded places, shopping malls, concerts, stadiums, that can trigger extreme distress. Enclosed spaces like theaters or stores, everyday activities like grocery shopping or going to the movies can become challenging. And when faced with feared situation, a person with agoraphobia may experience avoidance behavior. They may stop using public transportation, avoid busy places, or just stay inside their home. They may have intense anxiety or panic attacks. Symptoms can include sweating, rapid heartbeat, dizziness, or just feeling like they're losing control in this feared setting. So why does agoraphobia develop? There's some possibilities that we can look at. Could be learned association. So if someone has a panic attack in a public place before, they may start associating that setting with fear, and which would lead to avoidance, or maladaptive thought patterns. Some people may develop exaggerated fears about their safety, believing that they won't be able to escape or get help in certain environments. So, agoraphobia can significantly impact daily life, but treatment options like cognitive behavioral therapy and gradual exposure therapy can help people gain confidence and mobility. So, understanding this condition is key to reducing stigma and helping those affected regain their independence. Now, onto panic disorders. Imagine feeling completely fine one moment and then suddenly being overwhelmed by this intense sense of fear. It's like something's terrible's about to happen, even when there's really no danger. That's what a panic attack feels like for people with panic disorder. These attacks occur unexpectedly and repeatedly. Panic disorder is a type of anxiety disorder characterized by recurring, unexpected panic attacks, sudden episodes of extreme fear that trigger physical, cognitive, and emotional symptoms. When a panic attack occurs, it can feel overwhelming. Here are the common symptoms. We have physical symptoms. The body just goes into overdrive. Heart palpitations, excessive sweating, shortness of breath, dizziness, even chest pains. Some people even feel like sometimes they'll mistake a panic attack for a heart attack. It's that severe. Cognitive symptoms like thoughts of losing control, going crazy, or just even dying can race through a person's mind. And then you have the emotional symptoms, the fear of overwhelmingness that just kind of overwhelms you, I guess. It's often described as this sense of impending doom or terror. So panic disorder symptoms can look different depending on cultural backgrounds. For example, ataque de nervios, which is a culturally specific experience common in the Caribbean and Iberian cultures, are when people might tremble, scream, cry, or even faint during an episode of extreme distress. So what causes panic disorders? Well, researchers believe a few factors can contribute to it. So, first, overactive fight or flight response. The body reacts as if it's in immediate danger, even when there's no real threat. Or maladaptive interpretations of bodily sensations. Some people misinterpret their normal physical sensations, like your racing heart from exercise, as a sign of danger, which can trigger a panic attack. So, panic disorders can be really frightening, but it's definitely treatable. Cognitive behavioral therapy and gradual exposure therapy can help individuals regain control over their anxiety. So, understanding panic attacks is the first step towards managing them effectively. Next up, social anxiety. So imagine walking into a room full of people and feeling like every single eye is on you, scrutinizing your every move. Your heart's racing, your palms are sweaty, and the thought of just saying the wrong thing just fills you with panic. So for individuals with social anxiety disorder, these feelings are a constant struggle in everyday life. Social anxiety disorder is an intense, persistent fear of being judged, watched, or embarrassed in social settings. So, unlike just regular nervousness, this anxiety is so overwhelming it interferes with your daily activities, your relationships, and even your job performance. People with social anxiety often experience avoidance of social interactions. They may refuse to speak in public, avoid group gatherings, or even decline job opportunities because they have to socialize. They have excessive worry about social situations. They may dwell on potential embarrassment, feeling like they are saying something wrong or negatively judged by others. Social anxiety can also take different forms across different cultures. Here's an example. I may not say this correctly, I hope I do. Taijin Kyofusho, TKS. In Japanese culture, this condition reflects a deep fear of not just being judged, but also offending others or being seen as unpleasant. This highlights how social norms shape the way anxiety is experienced around the world. So, what causes social anxiety disorder? Here are a couple key factors. One, maladaptive cognitive patterns. Many individuals with social anxiety tend to catastrophize, believing that minor mistakes will lead to severe embarrassment or rejection, or learned behavior from past experiences. A history of bullying, social humiliation is overly critical feedback, or overly critical feedback can reinforce anxiety in these social situations. So anxiety disorder can be really challenging, but it's highly treatable. Therapy, particularly Alternatively, cognitive behavioral therapy can help individuals challenge negative thought patterns and gradually build confidence in social settings. With the right support, social anxiety can be managed, allowing people to lead more fulfilling and connected lives. Next, we're going to talk about generalized anxiety disorder. So, have you ever found yourself worrying about everything, your job, school, relationships, finances, even when there's no immediate reason for it? For most people, occasional worry is completely normal, but for individuals with generalized anxiety disorder or GAD, this worry is excessive, persistent, and very difficult to control. Generalized anxiety disorder is a mental health condition characterized by chronic and non-specific fear or worry that lasts at least 6 months. Unlike phobias, which focus on a specific fear, GAD involves persistent anxiety about a variety of everyday concerns. GAD affects both your mind and body. Some of the symptoms that included are physical symptoms. For example, many individuals experience extreme fatigue, muscle tension, headaches, or difficulty sleeping because of this constant worry and anxiety. There's cognitive symptoms such as the mind remaining occupied with excessive worry about different aspects of your life, your health, your work, your social interactions, even when there's really little or no actual threat. So, why do some people develop GAD? Researchers believe that there are several factors that contribute to this. First of all, neurotransmitter imbalances. Low levels of GABA, a brain chemical that helps regulate anxiety, may make it harder for your brain to calm down. Maladaptive thought patterns. Many individuals with GAD tend to overestimate risks, assuming that the worst case scenario is likely to happen in any situation. General anxiety disorder can be exhausting and disruptive, but it is manageable. Treatments like cognitive behavioral therapy and medications can regulate neurotransmitter levels and can help individuals regain a sense of calm and control in their life. So now we've talked about all the different types of anxiety disorders, but why do some people experience anxiety more intensely than others? While everyone feels anxious at times, individuals with anxiety disorders experience persistent and excessive fear that can interfere with their daily lives. Scientists believe that anxiety disorders are due to three things, or a combination of three different things: biological, psychological, and behavioral factors. We're going to break those down. Let's start with biological causes. Some people are biologically more prone to anxiety. This means their brains and body chemistry may make them more likely to develop an anxiety disorder. You could have genetic predisposition. If anxiety runs in your family, you may have an inherited tendency towards heightened anxiety responses. There's also neurotransmitter imbalances. Low levels of serotonin, which regulates mood, or GABA, which calms the nervous system, can make it harder for people to manage stress and anxiety. Now, what about psychological causes? How we think and process our emotions also plays a huge role in anxiety. People with anxiety disorders can often develop negative thought patterns that make their fears worse. So we have maladaptive thought patterns. Some people tend to catastrophize, always expecting the worst possible outcome in everything. Others may over-exaggerate or overgeneralize, assuming that one bad experience means future experiences were all going to go badly. We also have emotional regulation difficulties. Some individuals struggle to maintain intense emotions or maintain intense emotions, making it harder for them to calm down once anxiety starts. We also have behavioral causes. Anxiety can be learned through experience and observation. Our environment and past interactions can shape how we respond to fear. Learned associations. If someone had a panic attack in a crowded mall, they may start associating malls with fear and then avoid them. That's classical conditioning. Observational learning. If a child watches a parent react with extreme fear to something like spiders or public speaking, they may learn that fear also. Anxiety disorders don't have a single cause. Rather, they're a result of mixture of biological, psychological, and behavioral influences. The good news, because we understand these causes and the treatment like therapy and medication can target specific factors and help people manage anxieties more effectively. With the right support, anxiety can definitely be controlled. So just a little sum it all up here with the key takeaways, what we need to know for exam day. We need to understand the symptoms and differences between each anxiety disorder. We need to know examples like cultural bound examples like the ataque de nervios, which was the panic disorders, and the taijin kyofusho, which is the social anxiety. We need to know the links symptoms to causes that are biological, psychological, and behavioral. So hopefully if you found that all helpful, please hit that like and subscribe button for me. And that was the essential knowledge for CED question number 5. Describe the symptoms and possible causes of selected anxiety disorders. Thank you so much for listening. See you next time.